Alright, cocksuckers, welcome back to practicing artwod beginner roadmap portraits. What the fuck am I saying? Practicing portraits, an artwod roadmap. It's not their beginner roadmap, it's their portrait roadmap. Again, artwod is yes, that is what they are. They're they're the greatest what am I trying to say? The greatest online learning platform to become an excellent draftsman, draftsmen, and drawing from imagination. So if you give a shit about drawing from imagination, because I assume many people don't even know what the word draftsman means, right? In this age-old day of illiteracy, it must be a term that's bygone to the times. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm too focused on writing down 34 with the circle around it, right? And I'm trying to use big words that even I don't understand, but yeah, anyways, draw along. Please draw along. If you're not drawing along, get the fuck off my channel, right? Give me likes, retention, everything on the background, right? But if you do intend to draw along, then you already probably have begun drawing along or in the mode of preparation. But yeah, Artwad beginner portrait. What the fuck am I saying? Artwad portrait roadmap. Sorry, I just ate all my food, so like blood-brain barrier non-existent because all the blood is in the barrier of my gut. So that's another skill, right? Drawing even when you're tired or suboptimal, right? I realized yesterday I was a bit too harsh on myself because I'm like, oh, I don't know if I did enough. I don't know if it came across like that in the video itself, but personally, I came out of that drawing session being like, damn, did I try hard enough? The answer is yeah, you tried as much as you could, right? Like, as positively or growth-oriented as I try to be, I still struggle like 10% of the time. I'd say like I'm about 85% there in terms of just being really good in terms of a growth mindset. But yeah, 10 to 15% of the time, I put too many expectations on myself, and it was my first day back after essentially a week or a bit more. So I did what I did. But anyways, for the portrait roadmap, I'm in the section now where you look at a reference, which I have to the left here on my iPad, right? You look at the reference and then you turn it into a sphere with center lines, horizontal and vertical, right? I'm just going a step further and I'm turning that sphere into a helmet which retains that sphere as the basis. The basis with my lisp. I don't even think I have a lisp, but for some reason every time I'm on camera I have a lisp. Or like my voice is being recorded. But either way, I'm already started, by the way. Like, I'm looking at the reference and I'm trying to see what type of box this is. It's pretty difficult because these subtle angles are actually the most difficult, in my opinion, because they, like this person, I can't tell if there's a guy or a girl, to be honest. Very androgynous face. I'm gonna assume it's a woman. Oh, it's Winona Ryder. It's Winona Ryder? What the fuck? I see, I don't know anything about these actors, so I would have no idea. But yeah, whatever. Okay, Winona Ryder is, she's looking straight ahead, right? Or her face is essentially straight ahead, right? Not nowhere near intensely the top of her head or the bottom of her chin, right? We're not seeing anything from an extreme angle, right? We're just seeing her face, which is essentially right in front of us, and I'm trying to place it inside a box. So like, again, while I'm talking, I'm still thinking, and I'm really trying to figure out, because like the thing is, like, when people have fucking sharp ass jawlines, it actually fucks with me, you know? Which is why I struggle looking in the mirror and trying to put my face in a box. Shameless, I am attractive plug. Right? Um, anyways, I never really know where to go with those jokes because like it's partially a joke, partially an objective truth, and partially I have nothing of value to say. So I just go back to lol, XD, facial symmetry. That's me. I have that. but in reality, no, seriously though, like actually, I need to not talk. But no, actually looking at chiseled faces is actually more difficult for me personally because like the angle of their jawline completely fucks with the box. The box I'm trying to envision, not the Bach. I haven't practiced any of his peaches. His pieces, yeah. Okay, fuck off, bro. Like, clearly I can't talk right now, so please don't judge. Only person judging here is me, but still. Anyways, let's just start with the ellipse. Right? Fucking, as always, the pen is gonna be my greatest enemy. Is this a decent ellipse? I feel as though my ellipses are way too pudgy. But this is okay, right? It's not a perfect circle, but it's fine. Okay, so from what I can understand, I genuinely think I'm looking, okay, I know for a fact that I'm looking at a very, because she's subtly looking off to our right, like me, the viewer's right? And I don't know what type of box this is. This is definitely, is this a 1 point perspective box? No, because we can see the side of her face. Right, I think this might be a 1 point perspective box where we see the side of her face. we're seeing like this much, like the side of her face is like mounting to this much, right? And then the eyes begin here, right? And again, like this won't mean much, which is why I encourage people to draw along, because genuinely, like I'm just calculating and trying to figure things out as I draw, right? And I'm trying to think very much so. And I do think this is a 1 point perspective box. So with that in mind, right? And this is a slight curvature, this plane. It's actually much more muted than I'm thinking that it is. There you go. That's a lot better. So let's try something like, because this ellipse has to be very subtle, right? It's not perfect, but and again, like I didn't curve it enough at the bottom here. It's not subtle enough, but that is, I believe, roughly the vertical center line of her face and the orientation of her face, right? We might actually be seeing slightly more, so this should be slightly more curved. And then for the, essentially what is the eye line, right? The vertical, horizontal, what the fuck am I saying? The horizontal center line, right? I need to understand, because are we seeing the bottom or top of her face? And right now I've been kind of using the ears as a guideline, but I genuinely believe that this is basically straight, no? This is basically straight. Again, I could be wrong, right? These angles are usually very difficult to understand, but I think we're seeing just slightly above, because she's basically looking straight at us, right? And honestly, it feels very wrong to just add a straight line, right? I feel as if I'm gonna be breaking the dimensionality of this sphere if I just add a straight line. Because yeah, technically it is straight, but I feel as if there's still like the slightest bit of curve, and that's what I'm trying to establish right now, is just the slightest bit of curve, just like that. There you go. See, now that makes a lot more sense, and I think that is relatively accurate, right? I think that's relatively accurate. I mean, it's okay. It's very difficult to tell, which is why I'm trying to, again, envision the box, because I'll tell you right now, I can barely see the box that I should be seeing, right? But I do believe this is a 1 point perspective box in which we are seeing this plane, right? Like this is kind of what I believe we're seeing. Something like this. Which is why you see like this ellipse right here is so subtle, you know? Like this is what I'm essentially, oh shit, this is supposed to be more, there you go. This is what I believe I'm envisioning, right? Like this is the box, is what I believe it to be. Could be wrong, I could be completely wrong, but this is where we're training ourselves, right? This is literally the part where we train our mind and our hand and ourselves to be able to essentially visualize and place a visualization of specific dimensionality onto the reference and then hold it while we transfer it over to the page, right? There you go. Let me fucking tap the page aggressively again for no reason. And then let me add some eyebrows. I do think my sphere here is a bit too wide, for sure. And again, like this is not done because I want to have like incredible proportions or whatever. It's more so for myself to hopefully be, even though I have not been over here, but to hopefully, as much as I can, think about the dimensionality of the shapes and the curve in this context that it resides on, right? Like, is the curve, am I correct in that as well, right? I guess for lack of a better word, am I correct in how I'm placing these, and am I thinking about this curvature while I'm placing them? The answer is 50-50, right? To the best of my ability, kind of trying, maybe not succeeding, most likely not succeeding, most of the time really not succeeding, but the few times that I am succeeding, trying to take note of it, right? It's always going back to 3D. I mean, I'm okay with being a broken record, And this is not gonna look like fucking Winona Ryder at all, let it be known. I already think I fucked her nose up, but this is just for myself. Right, like where the nose should go, right? Just kind of thinking about, in terms of placement, if I'm making sense. Alright, that's just a shadow, so don't mind me. Like, none of this is gonna be accurate. I'm just trying to think in terms of if it makes sense or not. In terms of... just like the features or whatever the fuck. And then again, like the center line, trying to think about that. This is the sphere that it resides on. I think I've definitely made her lips way... or not her lips, but her nose way too wide. I mean, it doesn't matter, because... it's just par for the course, but... either way... right? Just trying to think about it three-dimensionally. It's very difficult, and obviously I'm losing a lot. And I mean, I'm genuinely losing a lot of the perspective every time I draw, to be honest. I think I've said this multiple times, right? But I lose the perspective all the time. And it's very difficult. It's just super fucking difficult. I have nothing else to say apart from that. But I am constantly trying to think about the box and the sphere inside the box and the center lines, vertical and horizontal, inside the sphere, inside the box, right? And even now, I just lost it like a bunch of times. But and that's with me already giving myself a crutch by like placing it here, by the way, right? So I'm gonna rest my brain, and then we're gonna do a helmet version, whatever the fuck. I've been trying to study a bit more in terms of helmets, like what they look like, how I can think when it comes to designing them, and then I'll do that. And then, you know, back to the page. As usual, we just continue onwards. But yeah, let me rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. Yeah, I also need to, as often as possible, also welcome back, but I also need to as often as possible, because I did this a little bit like a while back, but then I stopped, and now I guess I'm continuing again, right? But I do need to continuously give myself the cue, like, am I in extreme discomfort? Because like that cue has always been a blessing, to be honest. Like, it's always been a blessing for me. Like, am I in extreme discomfort, right? That, just me saying that to myself over and over and over has been of great benefit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and when I say that, it automatically calibrates me to be like, what do I consider to be extreme discomfort? Okay, think about the box, think about the sphere, think about the corner lines in the sphere, the center lines, sorry, inside the sphere. I need to slow down my speech. Even when I like look at my videos as I'm editing them, I just adding background music. There's not much editing, but I'm like, damn, I speak really fast. How the fuck are people understanding what I'm saying? The narrator says they are not, right? You guys don't probably understand what the fuck I'm saying, but hey, it's okay, I guess, right? But again, I don't know if, like, I feel as if it's even more subtle, right? This is good what I did here. So yeah, thinking about, see, like, am I in extreme discomfort? Now, every time I say that, I'm calibrating myself again to that box and the sphere inside the box and trying to really, really, really see it. Oh man, okay, see, I just leaned into something that was extremely difficult, and that is actually where I need to be. So that's the most difficult part right here, is like, this is just the beginning. That's just the baseline, right? So me saying am I in extreme discomfort, hopefully, like, me explaining this puts it in context and makes sense to you, to those of you listening, of like what kind of the effort that I'm putting forth is. So when I say, or when I do these things where I'm like, I'm in extreme discomfort, and I really lean into seeing that box, seeing the sphere inside the box, and then seeing the contour lines, center and the center lines, vertical and horizontal inside the sphere, inside the box, that's just the beginning, especially when it comes to designing these helmets, right? That's like the expected baseline, which I need to be at. And then after that is, okay, now draw forms on top of that, right? So you see how, like, I constantly lose the perspective. I hope it puts into perspective, no pun intended, like how I'm constantly losing that perspective, because it is so difficult, genuinely so difficult to to think about all of those things at once. And now, like, again, I took a giant pause in my sentence there because I was thinking, right? And right now what I'm doing may not look like much, but that's the point, is right, like, it's, oh my god, it's so hard, especially because I need to keep the I need to keep the box correct, right? I need to keep it correct. I need to keep it in my mind as correct as possible while I do this, right? That's a whole nother that's just a whole nother beast right there, right? And like, while I'm doing this, by the way, like, while I'm doing this, I have to think about, okay, what the fuck am I designing? What function do I want this design to have? What purpose do I want this design to have? It's a lot. It's quite a fucking bit, which is why I'm okay with the constant failures, right? Because the failures do determine where I guess the direction my drawings go in, right? But okay, like, again, like, it's hard to think right now, but I'm trying to think about that box. I'm trying to think about the sphere inside the box, and I'm trying to think about the contour lines and the sphere inside the box, right? So I'll keep repeating it. And okay, what am I trying to design right now? I guess I can try to explain that whilst I speak. By the way, speaking and thinking about all these things is a extremely difficult skill, right? Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Next time you draw, literally try thinking about at least 2 to 3 layers of perspective and holding that visualization, and then try explaining it while you're doing that. Just give it a shot. Try doing it for a minute straight. You'll see how much fucking brain energy it uses, right? So, you know, not to be like, oh, I'm so much better than you, but I just want to give it a perspective as to how much thinking I do when I draw and how difficult it is. And again, like, while I'm doing this, while I'm talking, I'm still keeping all those factors as much as I can in my mind, which is extremely uncomfortable. This is exactly where I want to be, want to be. So I'm very proud of myself for that. And on top of that, I have to think about a functionality for this design, right? Which is also very difficult. So okay, initially I had something else planned, but let's see if I can do something. If I can do something. Sorry, deep voice, right? No voice cracks here on the Viggy channel, right? Okay, and again, I'm gonna keep referring to, not keep, but I glance at my portrait, the reference portrait every now and then to make sure things do make sense, right? Okay, so that is going to be like this. Right, so is this correct? Whilst I, of course, try to visualize everything, which is those 3 things I consistently keep mentioning: the box, the sphere inside the box, and the center lines, horizontal and vertical, inside the box. Right, now this could obviously be very incorrect, but it's okay, because, like, at the end of the day, I care less about correctness and more about the effort, which is what I constantly tell myself, right? It's all about the effort. And the thing is, like, genuinely, the effort is really all we can control, right? If we're going to be honest, you know, there's no universe where I control the outcome. It just doesn't exist, you know what I mean? And I mean that literally, in the sense that I don't control exactly what this is going to be. I can only control the effort towards what it's going to be, which is why thinking about expectations is a fool's errand, right? You know, it is human nature, of course, and part of it is obviously the education system and how results based, like, life seems to be yeah, life seems to be. But yeah, we can't do anything about the end result. We can only do our best to focus on the effort. And again, like, you'll see that my efforts are very, very, very subpar, right? That should have been way more curved. I wasn't thinking when I did that, therefore I did not apply as well as I could have, right? But that should have been way more curved. Maybe I can add something like this. And again, I'm just doing a multiple rounding right now. And I'm gonna try to keep it simple because you still have to think about large graphic shapes. And who knows, right? Like that most definitely isn't the most, I guess, well designed or well placed. But now here's the part where I need to take a step back and be like, A, am I in extreme discomfort? And then B, am I really thinking about the design as much as I should be? Right? And the answer is usually no. Right? It's a resounding no. So we have to again kind of try to see if we can design something, right? Which is the whole point of like what I'm trying to do right now is like, can I design something that is at least a bit of functionality, right? And yeah, I'm trying to add little aesthetic bits here. That kind of didn't work out as well, and it's purely due to my see there again, my subpar line control. 100% purely due to subpar line control. Nothing beyond that, right? It's not in perspective, and my lines in one fell swoop were not able to accomplish what I had hoped I would be relatively able to accomplish. Some sort of hinge, right? And again, like still trying to think about, okay, well, this is still slightly converging. It's a 1-point perspective box, converging, right? So we have to keep all of those things in mind. And like, what is this? Like, what are these connected to, right? Well, maybe this can be some sort of grill. I've already tried to sort of establish that, but I just have to think like, okay, well, how does it really connect? Whatever I'm trying to do here, how do they connect to each other, right? Without obviously losing that perspective and that center line, which was already lost a little bit. Let's be honest, right? It's already a bit lost, but we can salvage it, hopefully. Sometimes I think even adding some sort of leading perspective lines like that can maybe make it a bit better, because now hopefully it's subtle, but it's following that perspective, right? So, okay, so what do I want here? I'm thinking out loud, by the way. So this isn't any sort of definitive process. It's simply a process that I'm discovering as I continue, right? Simple as that. It's just a process that I'm discovering as I continue to try. So let's try to think about what I've noticed in the Pinterest examples that I was looking at. We had really big blocky shapes, you know? So how are these connected first, right? How are we connecting these? That's the first question. They might, in perspective, be connected. Let's see. It's difficult to answer that right now. Then how about this? If these aren't connected, like these two lines, how's this connected? Right? Maybe these are just connected like so. Just literally just their lines connecting each other. Okay, so now this looks more three-dimensional, right? This looks more like something. Oh, my head keeps fucking tapping the camera. But this looks more like a three-dimensional shape. Right. And then I don't know, maybe we want something like that. And the thing is, like, yes, it is really full of I don't knows on my end, right? And this is what I mean, like my lines are also not the most confident, right? Like, yes, I've said, oh, beginners need to have better line confidence, but that doesn't mean that my lines are fucking perfect or anything. Like, that didn't really make any sense. But at least I try not to scritch, which is really important right now. And then, like, it's big shapes, right? Big shapes. How can I have big shapes here? Right, maybe something like, let's see. We have something cylindrical. Maybe we could just have something squarish, like so. Right, and again, this is what, not losing, hopefully, not losing the perspective of what I've already established. Right? Hopefully. Something like that, and then that can just, let's see. Okay, because like, okay, so this is obviously a manipulated shape with angles, but it also needs to follow this box, right? Like in terms of the perspective. So I need to make sure that is accounted for. Something like that. Okay, see, I don't think that was correct. But if I were to add the same thing here, like this perspective is more squished, right? So I need to actually, there you go, kind of make it a bit more, at least in my understanding of the current perspective understanding that I have a bit more narrow. Something like that. Not, I know nothing that I draw is really anything like impressive. I'm well aware, so like it's fine by me when I draw something abysmal like this, because for me it's just about trying to have that sphere and that center line, right, and all that stuff accounted for. And then, you know, obviously trying to design on top of it is a whole different ordeal, which is okay, because a lot of my designing is stifled 100% by my ability to create clean lines even, right? So let's see, and then see, like, I don't think this is right. This other side, it definitely doesn't seem right to me. It should have been much more squished, actually. My fucking head keeps tapping the goddamn the mic or the fucking camera. There you go. And something like that. And then how can we turn it into a sphere? Well, we can just do something like this. Right? And again, this side is off. It's all pretty off. But I mean, the biggest weakness right now is just my shapes. Like I know I say just my shapes, but it truly is just my shapes, right? Like this looks muddy, this looks muddy, right? It all just looks kind of muddy. But it'll work out slowly over time as I continue to analyze. Right now, I'm understanding that maybe larger shapes clearly have a merit, right? I'm just trying to think like, okay, what could be here? You know, because I couldn't really connect anything here. So why don't we try something hinge based? Right? Something hinge based. But I don't know. Like, can I even make it look good is the real question, but perhaps worrying about making it look good is what's gonna make it look bad. So I just do something like this, and we can something like that, possibly. And this is obviously where my lines will come into play. Whether they are clean or not, I will obviously do my best to see that they are relatively decent, right? And then we connect this hinge, perhaps add an outline to it that either adds detail or makes it look much more convoluted. And then perhaps I will connect these like so. And that doesn't look too bad. But what's happening here? I think I did something here that doesn't make sense, but we'll leave it for now. I do think I generally got a general, yeah, like generally got the perspective down, right? Nothing perfect, but But this is obviously way too centered. It needs to be more to the right. So that's a mistake. Lots of mistakes. The shapes are getting slowly better, I think. But yeah, let me rest my brain. That was really good. I mean, I was in fucking pretty much a decent amount of discomfort there. So yeah, let's just keep going. I'll obviously flip the page over. It's clear, like at this point, it takes me like fucking an hour to do 2 repetitions, right? which means there's gonna be a lot of really quality, real just quality time spent on figuring this out, right? Yeah, and again, like a lot of this doesn't even make much sense because technically, shouldn't this have some sort of 3-dimensionality here? Same with this, right? How does this end? Am I just going to, yeah, like, because that is attached like that, but that one isn't, so that doesn't make any sense either, perspective-wise. And obviously, I still fucked up the perspective a decent amount, but like here, who knows? There's a lot of issues with this, but yeah, slowly but surely. I'm just trying to figure it out. Yeah, anyways, let me rest my brain. We'll be right back. Alright, cool. Let's look at another face now. I'll let you all enjoy looking at this while I try to figure out another face. Who is this? Why does she look so sad? Portrait photography inspiration. Very nice. I love this movie. Okay, this is apparently from a movie. This is actually pretty difficult. We'll go with this girl's face. Right? Apparently she's an actress from a movie. I'm sure anybody else would be like, I don't know exactly who that is, but I have no fucking idea who this is. She looks kind of familiar, right? But it's just like template white woman with brunette hair, right? Doesn't really tell me anything. It's fucking, you know, it's like people think it's racist to say that X race all looks the same, but fucking the whole point of race is the fact that extremely similar features exist homogeneously throughout specific, I guess, phenotypes, right? Like racial groups. So this woman is just, you know, hashtag white. That's all I see. But it's just like, it's very similar features, right? White skin, flat nose, kind of upturned, right? Yeah. Obviously, I don't know how to fucking describe features that well, right? I mean, what else? If you have like, okay, see, it's a black guy, so like thicker lips, thicker eyebrows, right? Wider nose. Yeah, it's like there's specific features that, you know, like I don't know if that guy's an actor or whatever. This is but then there's like some features that are just, it's hard to tell. But when I say template, I mean literally just like think about the most template fucking features of a race, and you're like, oh, okay. So of course you can't tell who it is. Right? This is. Fuck, god damn it, me and my goddamn. I lost the portrait. Sorry. This is, I swiped out because Pinterest is all swipe based, and I couldn't, oh, there you go, there's the guy. Okay, so I found the girl. I'm just trying to look at other examples to prove my point that features are similar across races. Okay, so like, yeah, Asian girl, so like more, what is it, monolid? Is it monolid or double eyelid? I don't fucking know. Monolid, right? Are they monolid? I don't know what the term is, but whatever. Like smaller, hooded eyes, right? Flatter bridge, you know. Smaller chin, I guess, because it's a girl. Right. And obviously the hairstyles add to it as well. Right, and then even like across children, there are specific features. Like this is a ginger child, so you know she's already sold to Satan, and she's looking down at the floor because that's probably where she sent her parents to purgatory. But yeah, like again, like small chin, right? Much like bigger features compared to the skull. So it's actually interesting. Like it's really good to observe all these things. Obviously, I made a dumb joke, but like haha, white women all look the same. But genuinely, it's good to observe that there are similar features. Like there's no brown guy here yet that I can see, but if I were to just look at my own face, right, like fucking thicker nose bridge, I have a bump on my nose, so like a nose bridge bump is pretty common for my race, right? The ethnic sneer, me and my friend, he's also he's Tamil like me, South Indian, right? Tamil for you white folk, but yeah, like we both have like a very South Indian nose, right? Like our nose is like a fucking sneer. It's like a very elongated nostril, right? So, and that's just something I've noticed a lot between South Indian men and women, right? And then North Indian men and women, I don't really I don't know, what do they have? I mean, like, we have darker skin, we have thicker, I guess Indian people in general, we have pretty thick eyebrows, right? My eyebrows are relatively thick, kind of thick hair. South Indians have really curly hair. I don't have curly hair, unfortunately. My hair curls when it gets long, but it's like 50-50. There was a summer where I grew my hair out and it was curly as fuck. There was a summer where I grew my hair out and it was extremely wavy. So I don't fucking know what the humidity levels and the temperature and the specific timing of my hair growing out had anything to do with it. But with all that bullshit aside, let me look at this girl's face and try to put it inside a goddamn box. So again, like, I like choosing the extreme angles, like you've all seen, like these, right? Like the upward and the downward angles, like the bottom angles looking a specific way. These are extreme in my opinion because they're difficult to hold in my mind whilst I draw something over it, right? But then these other ones are difficult in their own right, like this girl and this other previous one I drew, where it's very subtle and you only see the vertical horizontal line is only it's very subtle, right? You only see a part of the side of the face, and maybe it's hard to distinguish whether we're looking at the head from a top view or a bottom view, or if it's or if it's, what's it called, if it's fucking, if it's neutral, right? It still feels very odd to put a straight line on a sphere, which I don't know if that's objectively correct, to be honest. And right now with this girl, I'm thinking it's also a 1 point perspective, but I could be wrong. But I'm going to try to hold that in my mind as I draw this sphere, right? But of course my pen is running out. But this is not a bad sphere, actually. Yeah, that's actually a pretty decent sphere, all things considered. Not perfect. I think it's pretty difficult to get down a perfect sphere, but you know, it's okay. It's all right. Okay, so now we really have to, again, think about, well, I know that for a fact the center line's much more to the at least hour left, right? And I know and I'm relatively confident this is a 1 point perspective. I'm not too certain whether we're looking slightly above her eyeline or slightly below her eyeline. I actually believe we're looking slightly below her eyeline because her eye is like this, and then her ears are down here, right? So this might be the super subtle curve, you know, the partial ellipse, and then this is obviously the full ellipse. But you see how, like, we're barely seeing the bottom of it? To me, that's what it seems like. But then, is it a 1 point perspective is the question, right? Is this just a very, 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 very subtle upwards perspective? Again, when people have sharp jawlines, much like this actress, right, it's hard to tell what the fuck is... Ah, shit. My bad. God damn it. I need to stop moving my chair. All that squeaking you hear is just me shuffling my seats while I hypothesize about the angle of the box. But let's see. Oh shit, I moved my paper off center. Okay, this is why I'm glad I'm checking it. But yeah, I guess, like, okay, her jawline is sharp, but we are seeing a little bit of the underside of her chin. Just like, again, when people have sharp jawlines, it's hard to tell, but I do believe... Well, first, I do think that this is more of a pronounced angle, right? Because we're seeing a lot of, at least from our angle, the right side, this side of her face, right? So I do believe this is relatively accurate right now. I just need to obviously, before I make this mark, by the way, I do need to confirm visually, right, in terms of my visualization, what perspective this box is in. And the more I look at it, the more I do feel as if it is the bottom angle, right? A very, 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 very subtle bottom angle, right? But a bottom angle nonetheless. I don't fucking know, bro. I don't fucking know. Or is it just straight? Or is it a top angle? I actually can't tell. This is the part where obviously I'm not sure if just using the eyes and the ears as a reference point is an extremely accurate way of measuring, you know. And again, while I'm talking, I am drawing in my mind, let it be known. Like, I am really trying to figure this out. That's why I'm extremely uncomfortable. That's why I'm taking a lot of pauses, right? Because, okay, well, I know for a fact, okay, this has to be a 1 point perspective, and I think this really is just a line across. Like, I genuinely think this is just a line across. Maybe it's a super subtle top-down perspective, like we're seeing the top of the plane, but I don't know, that doesn't seem right to me. So again, I'm problem solving, but I guess whilst I do this, yeah, let's just do this curve. Well, that was an accident, but okay. Well, this bottom part of the curve could have been, there you go. That's much better. But yeah, there you go. Okay, so again, faces are very difficult, right? There's a reason why I'm drawing these spheres so large, because like my faces will probably be roughly this size, if not like between this and half this size is how what my faces will be like. Because you have to remember, if I'm trying to achieve the whole Kim Jong-il drawing on a page, a bunch of fucking things going on just like a normal page, that's why my line work has to be so nuanced, right? So fine, right? So detailed, so masterful, I guess, right? Like really good control over this pen. And I need to be able to draw faces that are small and have a lot of expression through, yeah, again, like tiny lines, like, oh, like something like this. That's somebody fucking, that's an expression. I don't fucking know. That's just my really horrible attempt at trying to explain that tiny lines to make a face. You probably can't even see that well on camera. But I don't think I've done this right. Is this a bottom perspective? This actually might be, actually. I think I actually did kind of get this down, but it's very subtle. So, with that being said, there you go. Literally something like that. Yeah. I think, and I could 100% be wrong, right? But I think that's what the perspective is. Right? Like, I think, and maybe this is also just a box that's still in 1 point perspective, but is it something like this? Right, okay, well, technically, no, it's not in 1 point perspective, it's in 2 point, because we've seen the fucking bottom now. Like, is this... Actually, no, you can still see the bottom in 1 point perspective. Ignore me. This is no fucking idea. Clearly, I don't know anything about perspective. But I believe, and I'm putting an intonation on my voice, that this is the perspective. Let's see what Paul Allen has to say about the perspective. Nice, very nice. Damn, her eyebrows are long. Maybe that's just her hair also getting in the way. Trying to do the Seth Rogen rap, right? Fucking that shit. Okay. And then let's get her nose. It's an upturned nose. And that's the center of it. That's fine. Let's get the nostril. Something like that. And her eyes are fucking... Actually, they're probably... I think it's just the camera angle, but her eyes definitely look very far apart. Like, this has to be relatively accurate. I mean... Let's not forget, I'm doing way more than what this course requires right now. And forever, right? I'll always be doing way more than what's required. So let's not forget that this is the worst my understanding of portraits will ever be. Which is very, very reassuring, right? Because I barely understand anything right now, so I cannot wait to not understanding, but slightly less. Fucking, I don't know, months from now. So I'll probably be done with these 50 reps by end of January. Probably mid-January. It's January 6th, 7th right now. Nope, it's the 6th. Yeah. January 6th, 2026. Right? Okay, so I do believe I was... I think I was right. I think I was correct. The thing is, like, portraits are extremely difficult, and I've spent 44 minutes just as the youngins say, waffling, right? But portraits are extremely difficult because we're also seeing the top of her head. Let's not forget, like I'm seeing the top of her head, and I'm not seeing the bottom of her jaw. So this could be very well wrong. But people, we can see the top of people's head, and their faces can still be oriented upwards, right? Like I can still see all of this skull, right? I can see all of this skull. I can see there's like hair that goes, you know, loops or layers over this. You know, it comes back down. We see her ear. It's very difficult to genuinely understand. Okay, I just realized who this looks like. This looks like Marzia. This looks like PewDiePie's girlfriend or wife, right? This looks like fucking Marzia. That's who she looks like. I was wondering, like, who the fuck does this look like? This actually might be her, but somebody said this, they love this movie. So this is what I mean, all fucking white people look the same, bro. I think all attractive people of any race, if we're gonna just base it off of that, because I think that's what it is. It's like, attractive features look similar, and then attractive features through races are pretty homogenous, right? So like all attractive Asian women and Asian men will have specific features. All attractive black women and black men will have specific features that will be a constant, you know? And that's where I guess the racial disparity will come about when it comes to excess melanin and the width of the nose and the width of the penile apparatus, right? All that shit. So, although I will say, perhaps my nose takes me out of the game because my nose is quite large. I think technically it's completely accurate compared to my face, but I just have a bump, which makes it a little bit, I guess, a little bit bigger, right? A little bit bigger than conventional norms. All these faces start blending together as well when you realize everybody has fucking pointy eyebrows, and all the women have bigger eyes. All the men have I guess like hunter eyes, whatever the fuck it's called, right? Sleeker eyes, right? So if I were to add features to this, or like just to add the face shape, here's what I will be mimicking, right? It comes down here. I'm just trying to see like if that makes sense, right? And this is like where the ear is. You know, and this is where we have hair. Something like that. Now this is the hairline. And again, I'm not doing this because I'm trying to draw a face right now. I'm just trying to figure out proportionally whether I have a right idea. It seems to be okay. So this does make sense, actually. Obviously I completely fucked. I have a really hard time with this curve. The OG curve, as it's called. There's an OG. How do I keep fucking that up? Anyways, and I made her jaw way too big. It's supposed to be like here. There you go. See, this is much more feminine. Smaller size jaw. Whatever. Okay, so clearly, like, I do have a relatively decent idea, right? And now I'm gonna rest my brain. And yeah, see, 2 reps is all I can do right now because I'm really thinking, right? And this is good. Again, like when I'm talking, by the way, I'm not just like, oh, distracted, looking at the fucking reference, looking back at this. No, I'm literally, every time I look at that picture, I'm trying to put a box, a sphere, and then the center lines, vertical and horizontal on it. And then every time I come back here, I'm trying to hold that projection as much as I can, or try to reinforce it every time I look at this. So yeah, there's always a constant thinking going on. So I hope that clarifies. But anyways, let me rest my brain, and then I'll do the helmet. Yeah, it's one thing to look at references of hard surface type mech type helmets and then be like, yeah, so large shapes, like placed on top of a sphere, right? And they're all manipulated, whether it's through multiple rounding, single rounding, or angles, right? And they all have like little connections here and there. Okay, cool, right? And then there's like little like gaps which allow for breathability. Yes, white space. It's one thing to analyze that and be like, oh yes, I'm using these fucking these buzzwords. I completely understand what all this means. And it's a completely different thing to be like, okay, now draw it while holding the box, the sphere, and the center center lines in place. Right? Like visualizing those. And now design with that in mind. And now try to recall exactly all those things you just mentioned, because you're so clearly analyze it, you're a genius, aren't you? It's like, no. See, that's where no matter how much I tried, I could only do this, right? Which is just meh. It's pretty fucking shit, right? But it's the attempt. Never forget. I always would like to really, really, really encourage everybody to never forget your effort really does matter, right? Your effort really, really does matter. So even again, like here, I think I made her eyes a bit too far apart when I look at. It's okay, just add the eyelid. Ta-da! Didn't fix it, but I added the eyelid. Great. Okay, so obviously I want to fix that going forward, but now the question for me is like, while I try to hold this in my mind as much as possible, right? And this subtle one to hold is very difficult. So while I try to hold this extremely subtle box with a sphere inside of it, with center lines, horizontal and vertical, that follow a specific perspective, while I try to do all of that, and that's really painful, which is good. I shouldn't use the word pain. I do want to refrain from using the word pain. So I'll take that back. Let's not think about it in pain, and I highly encourage everybody to never ever think about it in pain. Extreme cognitive discomfort, there you go, which is extremely uncomfortable in terms of my cognitive output, right? Now we design on top of that, right? I'm gonna try, keyword being try, because trying is all I can do, right? I'm going to try to follow the contour of this the sphere that I'm establishing in my mind. And we'll start with the horizontal, because the horizontal is clearly where I struggle with the most, right? So we will have to we'll have to address that first, I believe. And again, you see, because my lines are so small, it really does make a difference. Let's see, and then this is clearly something like that. So I've already fucked this up a little, but I think I can salvage it, because hold up, because I have to think about it from the bottom, right? This is the bottom angle. So I do have to really, really, really think about it from the bottom angle. Something like that, right? Okay. I mean, I think a lot of mistakes have already been made, and I've really already affected the perspective quite drastically, but it still doesn't hurt to keep trying, right? It does not hurt to keep and that was a mistake. See, so I have to go over it, which I don't like doing, by the way. I want to clarify, like, it's not as if I like doing that, right? These going over the lines, but when I make the mistake, I still allow myself the liberty to be like, okay, let's at least fix it, so I have a decent idea of what it is that I'm trying to do. Right, so I did mess up here quite drastically. So it's just about, can I fix it before it gets too out of hand? Let's see. Okay. We got this. And again, it is a box that we're seeing the side of, right? So this should be okay. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll just add something like this. There you go. I don't know if that really makes much sense, but I guess it's a bit of asymmetry, which I wasn't intending. Maybe if I try to fix it. Doesn't really fix it. It's okay. Things happen, mistakes are made. It's fine, we move on, right? I lost the perspective multiple times there, by the way. So again, the question, am I in extreme cognitive discomfort? The answer is nay. So we just have to find that point where possibly we can be in extreme discomfort. Right? And this is just me trying to figure things out, and like, can I make this look good? Probably not, but we cannot discount my ability to create until I've actually created. Right? So while I can, I guess, be a little bit pessimistic and say, oh yes, it's all gonna go to shit. I mean, until it's gone to shit, I don't really have the right to say that, do I? But this is just me talking shit while I draw, as always. Right? Then we'll have this maybe jut out, something jutting out like that. Right, we still need it to look like it's from the bottom. I feel as if I already, like, this angle's really messed it up, because look, it's not supposed to be doing that. I wanted it to curve around this sphere while still looking like it's from the bottom. So really what I need is just more things that reinforce that we're looking at it from the bottom, despite what this is showing. Because technically, like, if we were face on, right, this would be something like this. And then this curve right here would be much more, it'd be like this. But because we're looking at it from slightly the bottom, it becomes straighter. That's the thing, right? And then again, maybe I can have a hinge. Something like that. That doesn't really work. Okay, whatever. We'll just circle that. I'm really losing the perspective a lot, I want to say. I'm losing it a hilarious amount. So this is why I love this, because this is why I'm in extreme cognitive discomfort. Right, so we can possibly close this. And what can we add here that maybe will look interesting? Because this already kind of looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna say it doesn't look cool, right? If I just do something like this, and then maybe some sort of thing going through. Right, like so. Not to, even though like it's already kind of off perspective. Right, maybe something like that. But again, it's already so off perspective. I'm just trying to think what could be done. Let's add these little perspective lines, right? These little perspective lines, which is just me, of course, reinforcing the 3D nature of it. But for it to look like it's from the bottom, I feel like I've already messed that up. Right? Like, yeah, I've already messed that up. So we could just let's see, what could I have here? Doesn't really look good. I think I can just say it doesn't really look good. But it's okay, to be honest. Like I'm really, really, really struggling. Am I in extreme discomfort? No, I'm not. Right? Like not as much as I want to be in. So again, maybe this can actually be a strap, which will make things a lot easier to understand, right? But again, like that's a huge fucking skull. That's a huge skull, my dude. So maybe this strap just needs to have like a little bolt or whatever the fuck I'm trying to make here, which doesn't really look like anything. No, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. I don't think it really looks like this angle over here, really, if I'm gonna be honest, right? And it's already been an hour. So difficult. I love this. Like I'm trying. Anyways, I hope this is my Joker moment. I'm genuinely am. Great sentence. I genuinely am trying really hard to establish like a proper perspective. Like I really, really am. But clearly I'm garbage. So like I'm really fucking trying to see that box, man. I shit you not. Maybe that's the angle it should have been in. I think the angle for this bottom should have actually been way more like that. There you go. That already makes it a little bit better, right? Yeah, like that. There you go. And then what can we even have? I gave him cheekbones, but I don't know how the fuck to draw other side of the cheekbones. Literally no idea. So when in doubt, just draw something hard surfacey and hope it works out. There you go. Maybe something like this. And then we can just have some subtle line work. Is what I like to think it is, but it's probably not subtle at all and most likely pretty ass. Right? And there you go. We can have that shit like going in there. There you go. Cool. That actually ended up looking kind of not ass, but I think I'm getting the slight idea, just the slightest idea of how this could look, but this definitely doesn't look finished. Like this mouthpiece could have been something cool, but ended up looking fucking retarded as hell. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? Bruce Almighty. Anyways, me and my shit jokes aside, I mean, that was really good. I mean, I know I said I wasn't in extreme discomfort, but that was just me, like me saying no was just me trying to push him further. I actually was pretty fucking uncomfortable throughout all of that. And because this angle was so difficult, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again for rep number 36, right? And we're gonna try to see if we have it down accurately or not, and we're gonna, again, based on that reference, see if we can do it again. And then I'm just saying the same shit over and over. But yeah, I mean, I hope you guys put a lot of effort in, because I genuinely was trying quite hard, right? And I lost this fear, like, completely, to be honest. I lost the perspective, I lost the sphere, right? I lost a lot of things. My dignity, right? I lost quite a few things. So it's good drawing session. Sounds about right for a drawing session. But you know, this literally doesn't make any sense and just looks super flat and not three-dimensional whatsoever. This I tried making, but that's because this was off perspective. So yeah, everything comes down to like, I think I'm gonna keep starting with the eyes to see what I can do there. And then we'll launch pad off of that, because clearly that is the most grounded part, but that's also the part where I clearly struggle the most with when it comes to defying the perspective in terms of following the form, but keeping the perspective in mind in terms of, even if I'm following the form, I need to make sure like, okay, well, this should probably have been down here, right? This should have probably been something like this. Yeah, see, like this ending here already would have made a huge difference. Because I have to keep in mind that it's like this, right? Like this is also following that downward turn, the perspective at least, right? The shapes. But either way, that was really fun. And I'm actually very proud of myself. Not to say I'm not proud of myself usually, but this was good. This was great. I love how my spheres are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, look at how big this is. And then look at this one. It's gigantic. So I just need to find a consistent sizing. So obviously I struggle with proportions as well. What a surprise, I struggle with everything. Anyways, with that being said, I hope you put a lot of effort in. I hope you only focused on the effort and enjoyed the effort and tried to be in as much discomfort as possible and pushed your fucking brain to think as hard as you could while you were applying, right? And with that being said, as always, fuck you for watching. Keep drawing, and please,